The same heating plant that warms the homes in this community creates a rare space in frosty Ottawa, a space where the growing season matches those of much balmier climes. In the 1980s, the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation built the LeBreton Flats Community Heating Plant as an experimental way to heat communities.
It's designed to heat the entire LeBreton Flats area of new development in the 1980s. So it heats buildings from Albert and Booth all the way down to Preston. Not every building is linked in, but the infrastructure is there. So currently it's operating at about 30% capacity. We could put a ton more residential units onto the heating plant and it would operate more efficiently. But even at the capacity that it's working at now, we still notice that the heating costs at the buildings that use it are about 20% lower than at our other properties.
About 10 years ago, some residents started putting pots of tomatoes, cucumbers, and garlic on its roof to take advantage of the microclimate it creates. Within a few years, the garden expanded to include raised plots fashioned out of 2x4s, tires, and rain barrels cut in half. The garden is strictly organic, as required by the Ottawa Community Gardens Network, but a lack of fertilizers and pesticides hasn't impaired the vegetables at the Sweet Willow Community Garden. The steam plant radiates heat, and several vents blow hot air through the garden, which extends the growing season by months.
The difference is not so much the type of produce that you can grow here, it's the length of the growing season. You're not going to be able to grow, peaches or tropical fruit or anything. The climate isn't that different, but the difference is that you can start growing a lot earlier in the season. So generally speaking, they say that in Ottawa you shouldn't plant before the May long weekend, but at this garden we start planting at the beginning of April. And basically as soon as the frost is off the ground, you can get your first crop of lettuce in. Same thing at the other end of the spectrum. Essentially, normally you'd tear down your garden by about Thanksgiving. Last year, well, it was a crazy warm winter last year, but last year we had stuff growing right up to December.
Due to limited space, there are only 10 plots of the Sweet Willow Organic Community Garden. Because of its popularity, there are about 25 people on the waiting list who will have to wait about 3 years to get their hands in the dirt here. Ryan Lux, Centretown.